Hello, everybody. My name is Catherine. Welcome to the Thug Life for Christ podcast. Thug Life for Christ stands for trying hard under God's law in faith everlasting. God is raising up bold believers, courageous believers, radical believers who need to just go out into the world and do as God called them to do. So here I am right now, starting before I'm ready. I don't have the proper camera. I don't have the proper lighting. I don't have the proper device. But here I am because God keeps nudging me and nudging me. And I hope this word blesses someone. I hope someone takes heed to this word so that they can keep their family protected. Today we'll be in Exodus chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 7 through 22. I do read out of the New King James Version. You can read out of any version you like. However, I like the King James and the New King James just because I don't want it to be too watered down, because perception gets a little iffy the more you start to break things down. So I want it to be as original as it can be. This platform will be used to basically just teach the word of God, and I will have different segments as time goes on, but I am excited. I'm excited to get into this word. I pray that it blesses you. Okay, so Exodus chapter 1, verses 7. But the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, Look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply and it happen in the event of war, that they also join our enemies and fight against us. So go up and out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Pithom, and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were in dread of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians made the children of Israel serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter and hard with hard bondage and mortar and brick and in all manner of service in the field. All their service in which they made them serve was with rigor. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrews' midwives, of whom the names of one was Shiphrah, and the other name was Puah. And he said, Then you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew and women, and see them on the birth stools. If it is a son, then you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, Why have you done this thing and saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to the Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptians, for they are lively and give birth to the midwives before the midwives come to them. Therefore God dwelt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was, because the midwives feared God, that he provided households for them. So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, Every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive. Woo, that's heavy. So to break this down, I will go back and I'm just going to break it down verse by verse. So basically what's going on here, Joseph has died, so now there is a new king, and he don't know anything about Joseph, so he don't feel like he doesn't have to honor the children of Israel. So he's being a burden to them. So one point I want to point out is when he stated that therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens. So even though these people were still enslaved in their own captivity, Pharaoh still suppressed them. He oppressed them. And a taskmaster is basically a chief of burden. It means distress, chief of burden, a driver, oppressor, raiser of taxes, a levy. Levy means joining. It is the enemy's goal. It is the enemy's tactic to join you to burdens. The enemy literally assigns taskmasters to try to oppress you, to burden you, to make you weaker. But see, what happened here is literally, no matter how much work and rigor he put on them, he literally made them serve in rigor. That means that's oppression, like literally slavery, oppression. No matter how hard he was on them, they grew mightier. But the thing is, they didn't even know how mighty they were, because if they knew how mighty they were, they probably would have attacked him. And that is the fear of the enemy. Literally, you're Pharaoh and you worried about the lower class. You're up here and you worried about right here. You know what I'm saying? You have this rank, but you still worried about this person in this rank. So it's all about the fear of losing power. Isn't it just like the enemy to be afraid that you will find out who you are? Isn't it just like the enemy to be afraid that your sons are going to break curses in the bloodline? Isn't it just like the enemy to be afraid and try to cancel out your whole bloodline? He don't just want to kill one or two. He wants to kill the whole generation. So that's why he went after the sons, because literally the sons hold the seeds. The sons are the husbands of the household. They are the priests. They are supposed to be the intercessors of the household. They are the headship. So therefore he's going for the head, because without the head, nothing can live without his head, literally. So, man, it's just so good. Whew. So good, God. Have your way. Have your way, Lord. Another point I want to point out is, let's see, I'm just going to check my notes. Let me point out this. Some of you that may watch may say, well, I don't have any sons. I'm sure you have an uncle. If you don't have an uncle, you might have a brother. If you don't have a brother, you might have a male cousin. If you don't have a male cousin, I'm sure you know somebody else who has a male cousin. If you don't know nobody with a male cousin, I'm sure you have friends with sons. If you don't, I'm sure you know a male somewhere. It's time. The time is now to pray for sons, because the enemy is after your sons. He's after the sons. And it's the sole purpose is to end the lineage. To end it. Nothing can grow without the seed. Let me tell you that right here. So all this scientific stuff that's going on, nothing can grow without the seed. I can't plant a tomato without a tomato seed. I can't plant a peach without a peach seed. I can't. It's impossible to grow things without a seed. So, and the seed is a new beginning. It is the beginning of growth. It is the promise of what is to come. So if he eliminates the promise, then he keeps the people in bondage. And that is the sole goal of the enemy. And if he can't keep you in bondage, he's going to try to make the men even more ineffective in the kingdom. And how does he keep you ineffective? How does he keep the men ineffective, or anyone for that matter? It is by planting bad seeds. That can be molestation, that can be addiction of all kinds. You got alcoholism, food addiction, sex addictions, perversion. You have so many different addictions. That can be lust, an overly sexualized male, because he doesn't, I'm not even gonna speak on that because I'm not a man. So I'm just pointing out certain ones that God brought to my mind when studying. What else? So I want to point out when he went to the Hebrew women and he said to them, if it's a son, then you shall kill him. But if it's a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God. So I think it not strange that they chose to. I think it not strange, and it's so beautiful that they chose to obey God versus Pharaoh. Pharaoh literally could have killed them for not listening, but they didn't care. They didn't care. And in the meantime, how bold are you going to be? Are you going to listen to God, or are you going to listen to your boss? Are you going to listen to God, or are you going to listen to the devil? You know what I'm saying? So if you choose God, this is a so like it says right here, literally it says, so therefore God dwelt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was, because the midwives feared God, that he provided households for them. That word households, it also means families. So you mean to tell me, while he was trying to kill the sons and they chose God, that God continued to bless them with even more families? Why are you in fear of God why are you in fear of the enemy so much, when it's really and truly the enemy is in fear of you? He doesn't want you to know who you are, because he know you about to break them curses, because he know you're about to break that them generational curses in that bloodline, because he knows that when you understand and know who you are called to be, that his power will diminish. It will diminish. So we will continue, because honestly this series, it literally has like 4 different parts, because I just want to show you how repetitive it is, how the enemy, he instantly goes to the sons every time he gets mad. And I'm going to point that out on 4 to 5 different more occasions throughout the Bible. So stay tuned, come with me next time. Remember, thug it out with Jesus, because he's the only one who thugged it out on the cross for you. So I hope you all have a blessed day, a blessed and prosperous day. I pray that you are praying over all men, of all different kinds. It is time to break the chains off our headship in Jesus' name. Y'all have a great day. Goodbye.